Senators Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are demanding answers about possible obstruction of justice claims in the Mueller report after Attorney General William Barr said DOJ officials found insufficient evidence to pursue obstruction-related charges against President Trump and left the decision to the Attorney General. Joining me now is House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. As everybody gets back into town, I know that you all were on recess last week. What's the mood around there for Republicans?
Well, the mood around here is actually a good day, not just for Republicans, but for America. That we could put this to rest, that this case is over, that now for the good of this country, we could move forward. We've got lots of work to do. We've got the USMCA, a trade agreement. Speaker Pelosi should put that on the floor. And we could actually move on from what has been, for the last 22 months, this cloud over this country. And it was all proven wrong.
The Speaker has tried to tap the brakes on pushing forward for impeachment, though it's been difficult for her because other Democrats are pushing forward. They want hearings, they want a head on a stake, things like that. Do you think she will be able to hold back impeachment proceedings, even though there's all that pent-up demand? And if that does happen, is there any way that some of these bipartisan issues can get worked out, like an infrastructure bill or anything on trade, for example?
I don't know if she can hold back impeachment because they wanted to impeach this president the day after he got elected. That's what Nadler went after. Remember, Tom Steyer prides himself on having a list bigger than the NRA list to impeach the president. Where does he do these town hall meetings? In Congressman Cummings' district, Nadler and others. They want to try to impeach this president even though there's nothing to impeach him over. I believe they will lose at the ballot box if they try to do that. The Mueller report should put this all to rest. But what the Democrats are doing, they're wasting their majority. What have they done the entire time they've been in the majority? Nothing but try to move towards an impeachment. Try to create something not true. Then you have a chairman of the Intel Committee.
Yeah, can I just stop you there? Because I want to play a soundbite from Kellyanne Conway. She's, of course, the president's senior advisor. She was talking about said House Intelligence Committee chairman. Listen to this.
Then you have Adam Schiff. Talk about an oxymoron. This man heads the Intelligence Committee in the House. He said, quote, he believed that the scandal was of a size and a scope probably bigger than Watergate and that there's plenty of evidence of collusion. He ought to resign today.
Okay, so obviously the White House feeling, obviously vindicated, but also really frustrated by the rhetoric that's been used while Mueller was working on his report, and now we have the results. Do you think that Adam Schiff, the House Intelligence Chairman, will back off in any way?
I don't know, because this is something that he always wanted to do, but Kellyanne is correct about this. Even before the Mueller report, remember what Adam Schiff said more than 2 years ago, that he had more than circumstantial evidence that the president had done something wrong. He owes an apology to the American public. And there is no place in Adam Schiff's world or in Congress that he should be chair of the Intel Committee. Adam Schiff always holds other members to a high standard. Remember, Adam Schiff was the one who fought so we could not know who paid for the dossier. Why did he fight so hard that we would not know that the Democrats paid for it? Also, he's the individual who met with Glenn Simpson. Remember Fusion GPS? Yes. When they knew the Intel Committee was looking into Glenn Simpson based upon his own testimony, and he never brought forward that. There are so many questions about Adam Schiff. People have real doubt about him, but now there is no way that he could lead the Intel Committee, and he should step back.
Are you calling on him to resign from the committee?
I'm calling on him to leave the committee as chairman, because Adam Schiff left this standard to so many others in the process. He has so many questions. One, fighting whether who paid for the dossier. We had to go to court. Two, meeting with Glenn Simpson, never telling us that he did when the committee was looking at it. And three, saying 2 years ago that he had more than circumstantial proof and evidence of a problem going forward. And now Mueller report just came through and proved that he lied. He should apologize to the American public, and he should step back from being chair of the Intel Committee.
All right. Thanks for coming on. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, welcome back to Washington.
Out by saying, very importantly, that he had supported this investigation all along. He was all for protecting Robert Mueller as he went through the process and saw it to the very end. That said, he said when it comes to the FISA warrant, the Clinton campaign, the counterintelligence investigation, he said it's been swept under the rug except by a few Republicans. Those days are over. Trey Gowdy joins us now, a Fox News contributor and former chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Trey, you've been listening to this along with us. He went on to explain to those reporters that the rule of law applies to Democrats and Republicans equally here. He explained why it's time to take a look at what he called the other side of this story. What did you take away from what you just heard there from the senator?
Well, Lindsay's right. There are some House Republicans that have been looking for the past 12 months at the FISA process, the origination of the FBI investigation in July of 2016. We were ridiculed by our Democrat colleagues and, quite frankly, by most people in the media for daring to ask how Jim Comey could have possibly cleared Hillary Clinton before she was interviewed. Democrats didn't want any part of that. So I am glad that Senator Graham and his Judiciary Committee is going to look at it. He's exactly right. The lady wears a blindfold. She's not a Republican. She's not a Democrat. As an American, you should want a Department of Justice and an FBI that you can have confidence in. But, Sandra, if anyone listening to that press conference wants to know why so many of my fellow citizens have so little confidence in the media, after 2 years and finding no evidence of conspiracy or coordination, the first three questions were not about that. They weren't about the origin of the investigation. It was about obstruction of justice. Not one question. There was three questions about obstruction and one about whether or not Lindsay should hold a campaign event in Florida. Nothing about the past 25 years, 2 years, $25 million, 500 witness interviews, no media inquiries about that.
It reminds you of this picture that stood out to all of us, James Comey tweeting out a picture of him standing in the forest with the title, "So Many Questions," to which Lindsey Graham retweeted with the reply, "Could not agree more. See you soon." It leaves us wondering what is next as far as further investigations, where exactly he's going to go with that. What he did confirm at the podium just now, Trey, is that William Barr should testify, he said. As far as whether Robert Mueller will be put on the stand, he said he's going to leave it up to William Barr. What does happen next, Trey?
Yeah, I was with Lindsay all day yesterday and talked to him last night after the Comey tweet came out. Somebody needs to take Comey's Twitter account away from him. Someone who hates the president as much as he does, and the president is cleared on even a scintilla of evidence of collusion with the Russians. Keep in mind, Sandra, the Barr letter said despite multiple offers by the Russians, entreats into the Trump campaign. They still didn't do it, and Comey is not satisfied. Lindsay's going to bring Comey. I'm sure he's going to bring Barr. Where I disagree a little bit with Lindsay is on whether or not this report should be made public. The Department of Justice answers true-false questions. Should you be indicted? Should you not be indicted? They don't write reports about other misconduct that doesn't rise to the criminal level, and they don't do Oppo research on people that we don't like. That's part of how we got where we are now, is the FBI and the DOJ were given Oppo research by Fusion GPS. To then allow Adam Schiff and Swalwell
and he's got so many questions,
and Castro.
Yeah, so Trey Gowdy, I have to leave it there. I want to get to Brett Hume. Trey Gowdy, thank you for standing by through that with us.
Chief White House correspondent John Roberts, he's live on the North Lawn, and probably a pretty different feel at the White House today than in the past couple of years, John.
Yeah, you know, even though it is a cloudy day here in Washington, the political storm clouds that have been hanging over this White House for the last 2 years have finally lifted. The finding of no collusion between the Trump campaign, the president, and Russia to throw the 2016 election is good news for the country. It's good news for American politics. And the president was asked about the Mueller report when he was in the Oval Office with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, a short time ago. Listen here.
Mr. President, so did this turn out to not be a witch hunt after all? You think Robert Mueller did a...
It's lasted a long time. We're glad it's over. It's 100% the way it should have been. I wish it could have gone a lot sooner, a lot quicker. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. I say it very strongly. Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again. Thank you all very much.
Very reasoned response from the president in the Oval Office today. Meantime, his top aides are after a pound of flesh, lashing out at their critics today. Listen to Sarah Sanders earlier this morning.
I think it's disgraceful that we had $25 million in taxpayer money to chase a witch hunt that never should have taken place in the first place. I think Democrats and the liberal media should be absolutely embarrassed by their behavior over the last 2 years in their breathless reporting and their hope. It's not just that they reported and spread a slanderous, malicious lie, but they hoped for the takedown of the President of the United States.
So the next step in all of this, Bill Barr, the Attorney General, will determine how much of the report that he can release. That will require consultation with Robert Mueller. The special counsel may also require consultation with the White House counsel's office about matters that may be covered by executive privilege. Last week, the president said on the South Lawn, let the report come out. He was asked again about it today, whether he thought the Mueller report should be released. Listen here.
The Attorney General, but it wouldn't bother me at all. Up to the Attorney General, wouldn't bother me at all.
Wouldn't bother the president at all if it were released. Democrats, however, not satisfied with what they have heard, zeroing in on that sentence in the Barr letter that reads, while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime in relation to obstruction of justice, it also does not exonerate him. Still, though, Dana, the White House claiming that the president has been vindicated by the letter that Barr sent up to Congress yesterday.
All right, John Roberts at the White House, thank you.